Page 2. Body movement. Body movement is an important activity in physical education. It can be categorized into movement in the water, movement in the air, and movement using basic skills. 1. Movement in the water. Movement in the water includes staying afloat and pushing water with hands and feet. A person uses their hands and feet to push the water to propel their body forward or backward. Movement through the water includes 4 standard swimming styles, namely freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke, and butterfly, though there are other styles of body movement through water. There are 2 important elements of movement in water. Page 3. 1.1. Keeping the body afloat. To be able to keep the body afloat, we need to learn and practice until we can do it. The principle of staying afloat is that, when the body is in water, any parts of the body will displace water where buoyancy equals the weight of body parts underwater. Such buoyancy is the force exerted from bottom to top, and the magnitude of force depends on the size and weight of an object as well as the force of gravity. Around the chest, there are lungs that contain air inside the small sacs, which helps facilitate floating and maintain balance in the water. As legs have a lot of weight from muscles and bones, they often sink more than any other part of the body when a person lies atop the water. Heavy people produce more buoyancy than thinner people do because of their higher amount of fat, and fat is less dense than muscle. People who have large legs and are heavy will stay afloat better than those who are not heavy and have smaller legs. The length of legs, which are shaped like long beams, will cause the weight to fall heavily on the leg, especially the lower part of legs far from the center of gravity. This also explains why the legs sink more than any part of the body. Page 4. 1.2. The body's direction and force exerted are in opposite directions. For example, in the breaststroke, when the feet push water backward, the body is propelled forward. In the freestyle, when a hand and an arm are pulled from front to back, the body is propelled forward. In the butterfly stroke, when both legs kick backward and hands, arms are pulled from front to back, the body is propelled forward. In the backstroke, the feet are kicked forward, the hands and arms are pulled forward, the body is propelled backward. In swimming, kicking feet and pulling hands and arms in longer length will propel the body forward better than kicking feet and pulling hands and arms in shorter length. For example, in the breaststroke, both feet kicked out in a semicircle will produce more distance than the feet kicked out straight. In the freestyle, pulling the hand and arm in an S shape will produce more distance than pulling the hands and arms straight. Comparing 2 distances of kicking the feet in a semicircle and in a straight line in the breaststroke swimming. Comparing 2 distances of pulling a hand and an arm in an S shape and pulling straight in the freestyle swimming. Page 5. 2. Body movement in the air. Body movement in the air is a form of movement without any support above the ground. Unlike the body movement on the ground, concrete floor, cushion, or any other supporting floor, including in the water, where the body is supported by being lifted up. The air has only emptiness that cannot protect the body or lift the body up while we are moving. Movement in the air is much affected by the force of gravity that will cause the body to fall to the ground. The air currents have some influence, but are still much less than the force of gravity. Body movement in the air can be divided into 2 types. 2.1. Body movement in the air, not fixed in one position. This movement has many forms such as vertical movement, jumping up, jumping down, high tower jump, diving, diagonal jump, long jump, and so on. In this form of movement, the body cannot change direction while moving. For example, jumping up will happen only in one direction and cannot happen to the left, right, front, or backward directions. Similarly, jumping from a high tower cannot force the body to go to the left, right, front, or backward directions. However, parts of the body, such as arms and legs, can be controlled or well positioned. Whether the force is sent out from the body or from gravity can still revolve around the center of gravity. Page 6. 2.2. Body movement having a connection object. This form of movement has something that can be gripped or connected to other objects in the air, such as parachuting, gymnastics high bar, parallel bars, uneven bars, pommel horse, steel rings, and so on. In this form of movement, the body can be forced to change direction to some degree, while body expression, or changing the direction of movement, is different from the first form of movement where there is no connection object at all. In parachuting, connection objects are pilot chute and parachute, and the contributing factor is wind, which has more influence on this form of movement than the first form of movement, as the wind force will push against the parachute. This enables a parachutist to fall to the ground after the parachute does. Also, the direction of parachuting can be managed by pulling the pilot chute to any desired direction, while the force of gravity will drag both parachutist and parachute down to the ground at all times. Page 7. 3. Body movement using basic skills. Basic skills for movement are a person's mechanism leading to playing sports well. Those basic skills are as follows. 3.1. Speed is the ability to move from one place to another using the smallest amount of time. This speed is necessary for almost every sport, such as football, basketball, handball, short running, etc. 3.2. Power is the ability of muscle to work quickly and generate force at a sudden contraction. This power is necessary for many sports, obviously such as shot put, the javelin, the discus, weightlifting, and so on. Page 8. 3.3. Agility is the ability of the body to control changing the direction of movement quickly and precisely. This agility is necessary for many sports such as badminton, table tennis, football, basketball, and so on. 3.4. Flexibility is the ability of joints to move at a wide angle. This flexibility is necessary for many sports, obviously such as gymnastics performed on the floor exercise. In addition, flexibility is also an indicator of the state of a person's good health. Besides, there are skills part of a human's basic mechanism that require regular use. Despite not playing sports, skills need to be used on a regular basis, such as walking, running, throwing, jumping, movement in different styles, etc. These skills are used not only in daily life, but in playing sports as well, more or less. Especially running is the skill used in almost all sports.